Today on our discussion zone, I mentioned earlier we'll be looking at racial discrimination in sports. I actually have my co-host Hafiz Gunu here with me. Hi Hafiz.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm well.
Okay, football. Oh, I forgot. You almost became a footballer.
I wouldn't put it that way. But, yeah,
Okay, what happened?
it's a story for another day, maybe.
You do play football, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You do score goals, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
What footballer would I be without scoring goals? Then that would make me a goalkeeper anyway.
Well, no comment
Mm-hmm.
on that one. You still don't have evidence anyway.
Of what?
You were supposed to be a footballer. I don't even know why you are sitting here.
It's
You
okay.
didn't become the footballer.
It's okay.
You're telling me you still score goals and we're not getting any money for it.
Yeah,
Eh,
don't worry.
like by now you'll be paying thousands of pounds a week.
You see.
Ha.
Mm.
Rethink the life career.
Okay, I will. I will. I will.
But did you watch the match? England versus Italy.
Yeah, yeah. I was rooting for Italy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Why would I support England anyway?
Why were a lot of people rooting for Italy?
No, I was supporting Italy.
Any particular player?
Not about a player.
Just like the team.
I'm not a huge Italy fan, but England was involved. I mean,
Once, no matter what, you will go for.
it's nothing personal. It's just hey.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So I guess you're happy.
It's just their press that make a lot of noise. I'm like, these guys won't let us rest when they win this. So
Right, that's true. That's true. They even had a song. Yeah, they actually, one of the schools sent out a letter to the parents that due to the match, they should allow the children to stay up late and watch, and children were allowed to come sleep in late and come into school the next morning at 11 a.m.
sounds like England. So
And I was just thinking, wow, can this happen in Ghana?
But
Watch match and come to school the next day at 11 a.m.
yeah, well, it's the passion of the nation. So I can understand.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
true.
they started football anyway, so I can understand that. But racism in football. Well, it's a conversation that raises ugly head every now and then.
Yeah.
Okay, it comes up in one particular way or form, and then
Yeah.
it goes away. The next, it comes up in, and it's one conversation we're going to continue having. Now, one thing is that makes racism a very difficult issue to deal with is the fact that it seems to assume a very disturbing yet an all too familiar pattern anytime it comes up. Yes, usually you have a black man that, as a black man, you are given a seat at the table once you are considered useful until you're not. And once you're not, everybody turns and point the finger. Hey, well, blame the black man. It's his fault. Or, I mean, he's not one of us, basically.
Yeah.
And even before football, I mean, in other examples, we've seen so many. Now, not too long ago, we saw the case of Mamadou Gassama, the Malian migrant who climbed 4 stories in 30 seconds to rescue a 4-year-old boy
Child, yeah.
hanging from a balcony. And what happened? 7 months later, he's rewarded with a French citizenship. To say you're not one of us, that's very French of you, basically. After that, we saw the case of Mamadou Diop,
Yeah.
a Senegalese migrant who went viral for saving a 72-year-old man's life by diving into a river. And there was endless requests to the Spanish authorities to make his stay permanent or something, to grant him permission to stay in Spain. Once again, you are one of us, so stay. That's the reward
Oh, yeah.
for being compliant. Now, let's come to football and sports in general. But football in this case, given what happened in the aftermath of the final of the Euro 2020. Now, the 3 young men at the center of this whole, situation that, England seems to find itself. I'm talking about Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, and Bukayo Saka.
Yeah.
Now, these were young men not too long ago were considered, well, one of us, in the same vein. I mean, Marcus Rashford, before the tournament, he was feeding kids up and down.
Yeah.
Nobody was saying he I mean, it was so, it was an Englishman feeding kids.
Yeah.
What happened? He takes his sports kick, he misses, and, well, everything went sideways. We're talking about Jadon Sancho, the other young man.
Yeah.
This was a guy that was so brilliant last season with Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah.
We've seen the amount of money Manchester United have forked out to sign him.
Yeah.
And in fact, Gareth Southgate endlessly received questions for not featuring him.
Yeah.
He comes on, takes his spot kick, misses, and suddenly is the black guy.
Oh, yeah.
Bukayo Saka, we saw his performance against Czech Republic, sent a lot of tongues wagging. Afterwards, what happened? Oh, it's the black guy.
He is the black guy.
So what's going on? And you see, the interesting thing about it all is that when you were watching the game and with everything that happened with the spot kicks, it didn't take a genius. In fact, it's one of those situations you can actually play God and get right. One of those predictions. You can just say, these guys are going to get it from the English fans. So many people are like, no, this is actually coming. And unfortunately, well, England didn't disappoint. They gave it to them.
Did you really have to put it like that?
Well, that's what happened. Anyway, disappointed it in quote. Anyway, so, but that's what happened. So, I mean, you could just see it coming, and they actually went fully at them. And given, well, the circumstances, I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but then it's uncalled for. Really, you don't have to go to that route. And you see, the thing about being a black man in sports or in football in this case, I mean, you get stick from all angles.
Everywhere.
Publicly, you get it. Privately, you get it. Institutionally, you get it.
Everywhere.
Okay, publicly, you get it. You get stick from the fans. Privately, you get it on social media. People DMing you and saying all kinds of distasteful stuff. Institutionally, well, we've seen the ratio of black managers in games.
Yeah.
So, at every turn, you're going to get it. And don't even get me started on the media and the way they conduct themselves. Raheem Sterling gets it, at every turn from the Sun and Daily Mail and the
He's
likes.
their favorite. He's their favorite for the
They
headlines.
go at him constantly.
He's their
And I'm
favorite.
just glad he didn't take the sport kick. Because God knows what would have come at him.
If he had taken it and missed it, it would be like, just drop your head on the platform.
Okay.
Let's drop it.
And even Rashford, still on the media. A gentleman that, purchased the property worth 1.5 million euros. And it attracted so many headlines. Headlines that said he's extravagant.
Yes. And meanwhile, he wasn't the only player that had done such.
Then someone like Phil Foden of Manchester City does the same. Who's white, by the way. Does same, and it's made to look like he's looking out for family as the good boy that he is.
Caring
Same act, just
and
different.
providing.
Exactly. Same act, just different skin tones. Now, for me, in the fallout of this whole incident, one thing that gladdens my heart is the fact that some individuals or prominent individuals on the Downing Street are catching heat for everything that happened.
Yeah.
From this person, even to Boris Johnson himself. Okay. Now, before the tournament, or even during the tournament, in the early stages, in one of the games, the English players took a knee, and you had fans booing them.
Yeah.
Yes. So when they were booing, nothing came from Boris to condemn the behavior. In fact, the Home Secretary, Patel, came out to say there's nothing wrong with fans booing. That was what she said. Only for everything that has happened to go on. Now, Johnson comes out to say it's appalling. Patel comes out to say it's disgusting. And once she says that, I mean, of course, everyone can see through the hypocrisy of it.
Oh, yes.
Because you don't get to sit on the fence in one breath and then come out to
Say there's nothing wrong with fans booing.
and then come out to say that, oh, you support you. No, you don't get to do that. And I'm glad the Aston Villa defender, this guy, Tyrone Mings, took her to task and came out to her very hard in a tweet he put out, in the aftermath of this whole incident. Now, if you would permit me, here was the tweet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he quoted her tweet in a reply and said, look, you don't get to stoke the fire at the beginning of the tournament by labeling anti-racism message as, quote, gesture politics, and then pretend to be disgusted when the very thing we are campaigning against happens. I mean, he really came down hard at her.
No, but then look at what happened. You didn't expect him to have turned it any other way.
So he came very, very hard at her. And so you look at all this whole situation and like, when will it stop? I mean, in football it happens. Now, because I support Italy, maybe you probably think, oh, maybe it's because of issues like this or because of England's colonial past is what I'm thinking. Because, I mean, Barry doesn't support Belgium because of King Leopold. So, yes.
That man, that man, please, we don't want to think about that man's thing. Hey.
Executed somewhat 10 million Africans.
No, that man.
So, because of it, Barry has a hard time supporting Belgium in anything. That's his reason, anyway.
Yeah, but the man is some way.
I know people that will not back England, because of everything that has gone on. So maybe you would think that it's because of, but it goes beyond that.
I think for me, I stopped supporting them because the very first match they played.
Yeah.
The first person to score a goal was black.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they were publishing their newspapers the next morning, guess who they put on the newspapers?
Harry Kane.
Yes. And then they wrote that he has actually he's broken the bars. He's actually the one who's opened the doors again. Like, you read all the headlines from the various newspapers they have there. Everything was about Harry Kane and the fact that he had just changed so many
English. It's English, Italy. I said, is this English media at their best? What's the name? Let me even give you this example. Asamoah, our very own Asamoah. Asamoah, in his time at Sunderland. Okay, remember the 1-1 draw Ghana played in the friendly against the Three Lions.
Mm-hmm.
We were trailing. All of a sudden, Asamoah, through his own individual brilliance,
into it,
scored a goal. Did you hear the commentary? Oh, Sunderland's Asamoah has scored. So
listen to the beginning of the sentence.
Yes. So
the beginning of the sentence.
Exactly. Suddenly he's Sunderland's Asamoah. He's not even Ghanaian.
Sunderland.
So these things, I mean, we hear them all the time. We see them all the time. And because it's not like I was deliberately going at maybe England for and supporting Italy for reasons. I mean, Italy in itself, Italy is even far worse when it comes to these issues. Yes, Italy is far worse.
We know.
We've seen the racist, incidents towards Balotelli,
Chave?
Kevin Prince Boateng, Samuel Eto'o, Romelu Lukaku. These are players.
I think even yesterday Lukaku was still in the trend yesterday because he's actually been part of the team of the tournament, and people don't get why he has been added. They'll be okay if it was Sheikh, or they don't get why they had to put Lukaku there.
So if it's Italy, it happens all. I mean, that is even worse. I remember one incident in 2014 where their what's his name, their FA president Carlo Taverccio, in the run-up to the elections, he said he was referring to the influx of foreign players into the Italian league, and he referred to them as players that previously ate bananas.
Indirectly, monkeys.
That was what he said. And when he said that, guess what? The Italian FA cleared him of any wrongdoing. The only thing he got was a ban, a temporary ban, actually. So, these things, I mean, I could go on with so many examples. In Spain, we saw someone try to kick a ball at the corner, at the corner flag, Dani Alves, and he had banana thrown at him.
Yes. The same thing. So many of them have had the banana skin thrown at them whilst they're on the pitch.
You see, but as time these incidents are just so painful to recall, and so it's time we do something about it. Okay, looks like there's a lot of lip service. We do this, let's do this, but there's not, you know, people aren't facing consequences, real consequences
Actions itself, yes.
to get them to rethink this behavior.
Actions.
Okay, I mean, if you look at social media, and once again, with all these things happen on social media.
Yes.
And once again, social media, the bigger ones, Facebook, Twitter, I mean, they have failed to control, some of these vile messages that we see on their platform. And what is even more disturbing, recently, I think Twitter talked about how they had mistakenly verified some, fake accounts.
So yes, they mistakenly verified fake accounts. And then when they finish, they suspended.
They're like, no, there are not so many, but yes, we get it. So if Twitter itself is doing this, or has failed to put this in check,
if they can mistakenly verify,
so it was left on to people to actually report some of these tweets, to get them taken down, or some would report these tweets to their employers, and to have people lose jobs because of it. That's the only way we can have people understand that, look, this is not going to be tolerated, in football. It's the one thing that brings us together, or in sports generally. So it's not going to be tolerated. Now, another thing I think we can do to stamp out this whole issue is the fact that, you see, we need to widen the scope and definition of what constitutes racism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are certain acts or behaviors that somehow inadvertently reinforces racism that we seem to think is normal. We've normalized, basically. Now it's so easy to point out, intentional racism. They call you names, they do stuff that's very blatant. I mean,
it's out there. You can pinpoint that this is
and
racism.
call it out. But there are instances too
the subtle ones,
and some they are meant to be praises or complimentary, but when you look at them, actually they aren't. They are not. And in fact, they only go to reinforce some of these beliefs. I'll give you an example. Now, there's this idea of the natural black athlete.
Yeah.
That, as a black man, naturally you are gifted as an athlete. So, and you see, when you sit down and listen to commentary in sports and everything, and they compare a black and a white player, sometimes you don't even have to watch it. Just listening, you'll be able to tell who is black and who's white, just by the way they describe them. Okay? When you are listening to commentary involving a black man,
mm-hmm.
his physicality is something that they tend to talk about his physical attributes, and almost ignore the cognitive side to their game. It's almost as if we are not intelligent enough to intelligent, yes, or we are cognitively challenged, if I should put it that way. And you can just see it. And don't take my word for it. There's even a study on it. Now here's the thing: a study. Are you listening?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a study on commentary.
Mm-hmm.
A study was done on commentary during the FIFA World Cup in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and they analyzed some 1,009 comments of praise
mm-hmm.
given to footballers during 30 hours of BBC and ITV coverage across 20 matches. Now, here's the thing. It was found out that black players were praised for their perceived natural athleticism, and white players for their intelligence and character.
So when it comes to the black man, it's because of the way you are naturally built. So
you are strong.
You don't even indirectly, you don't mentally apply any effort to be able to get the work done.
So it means for what we lack for in the cognitive department, we more
mm-hmm.
than make up for in the physical department.
Yeah.
So they are like, well, they are not physical. They are mentally more astute, which is very wrong. And you hear all these commentary, even people on punditry duties. One time there was this pundit that talked about how Raheem Sterling, wouldn't be playing for Manchester City if not for his pace. That he should be playing in the lower tiers. Who says that? To suggest, he's only good at running on the ball. Yes, you take that away. He's not intelligent on it. That's what he's saying. So, you sit down and watch these things, and you think they are praising. It's not actually singing your praises.
I feel sometimes it's because some of the people get to the point where it's like once they're being accepted or, just, it sounds like an acceptance speech or something. Let's just take it like that. And nobody wants to look beneath or beyond the case. I mean, initially, since last spring, we know that most of the players have been taking the knee. And this is, I mean, in the Premier League, they're mostly doing it. But at a point in time, as I think we even mentioned that thing here, that it gets to a point, it becomes just like a ceremonial thing. There's no meaning, there's no meaning really attached to it right now. And when you look at this recent incident, it gets you thinking.
Yeah. So, you see, because at the end of the day, I remember us having a conversation here on the same platform with, I think, Desmond. Yes, I was asking him about, the significance of all this, symbolic gestures. Because at the end of the day, yes, nothing has been done, or very little has been done, I should say.
About it, yes.
But then again, you can't sit or rest on your laurels and say that, okay, well, I've done, and then throw your hands up in the air and say, okay, well, nothing has been done, so let me just stop anyway. No. At every turn, at every given opportunity, you need to let people know what they are doing that constitutes crossing the line and what isn't.
And I think most of these platforms that enable these people to actually put out some of these things should start holding the people responsible. Because they actually are not taking any actions, it's indirectly like a green light for them to keep doing it.
I read something about how some of these comments are still up and some of these accounts are still actually very active.
And they're not doing anything. So then it's like a green light. I cannot post it.
For the ones that actually have had trouble, is just people, reporting them these accounts and having them blocked, and some even, reporting them to their employers and having them fired and everything. Because at the end of it, it's just about consequence. People should know that they can't get away with things like this.
That's true.
Okay, people should understand they can. You're allowed to get disappointed and everything. And I like the statements put out by Marcus Rashford, in the wake of it. Yes, you can question my ability to play and everything, but what I want to apologize for
is who I am. Yes,
something very powerful, and that's that. Okay, so I mean, what makes you more English than I am?
That's the thing.
So it's so painful to see some of these things, and you see, and for many across the footballing world that watch the English Premiership. I mean, this feels like a betrayal. I mean, we thought we were in this together anyway. We thought, yeah. I mean, but someone will tell you. I mean, if you've monitored,
it's what we thought we were in this together.
I mean, if you've monitored activities or happenings or conversations surrounding racism in England, I mean, the one that recently comes to mind is the Meghan Markle incident and everything.
I was thinking of. I was like, God. So just in line.
It just goes to support, to cement the fact that, well, maybe there might just be some truth in the fact that, well, high up they aren't exactly doing something about it, and Did
you say maybe just?
I don't know. I because, well, I mean, we are going with her testimony. It's her word against theirs. So, but that's what's happening with this whole incident. And for me, like I said, I mean, it's one issue that comes up, and every now and then we have to revisit. Okay, and we can't say we are going to get tired. So long as it comes up in various forms, we are going to keep attacking it that way.
Definitely.
Until
something is actually done about it.
This hits home anyway.
Yes, I think it doesn't also just apply to only the male footballers, even the black female footballers. You have somebody like Lauren James, I mean, who has also been receiving certain messages, and they are distasteful.
Lauren James, that's Reece James' sister.
Where you're actually putting in the effort to work on the game, and you're working towards your passion, and somebody is sitting back and judging you by the color of your skin. That alone just depreciates your value, your worth in their eyes. And they feel it gives them the right to just type, text, or say or do anything.
Look, one thing you need to understand about football fanatics, fans, and in general, naturally they are fickle.
Yeah.
One moment they are singing your praises.
The next minute.
You are the worst thing to happen to the human race.
I actually was thinking, what if those guys had actually scored? What would have happened? How would it have been put out in the newspapers?
We wouldn't know. Now we want to know.
England.
So, I mean, because the thing was, I mean, it actually looked like it was coming home until it took a detour. So,
But you didn't see Italy's banner.
because I mean, when they started in the second minute they scored. So I mean, people were like, well, it might actually be coming home. So
there was a match I watched that I learned that thing. Never trust the first goal. Never trust the first goal. The fact that he scored first doesn't mean you're always going to win. Hey.
But they really looked into it until they scored and they decided to defend and everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, naturally, for me as someone that loves sports, because it's the one time where you don't actually look at the next player and feel, oh,
you're
he's
different
black, he's
from
white.
yes.
I mean, a goal is scored and you're hugging the next person standing.
Excited, jumping.
Yeah. You turn around and you hug the next person. Look at what sports in itself has done for a country like Italy. Not too long ago, COVID at the heart of the pandemic,
Yeah.
they were the hardest hit in Europe.
Yeah.
Beds and everything. And just in a space of a year, look at the turnaround.
Everything has just changed. I don't believe something this ugly.
Something that can unite them.
I don't believe something this ugly should be found in such a beautiful thing. Because it's the one thing I keep saying that sports and football is one place where it's not about who I am or who you are. It's about who we are. What we are for, who we're rooting for, who we're standing for, who we're shouting for, something. But when such an ugly thing pops its head there, then it's like you're destroying the beauty of the game.
I've heard certain arguments. Some try to even make, they say, look, they're okay. When these guys, the Rashford, the Sakas, the Sanchos, the black boys basically, when they perform well, that they get it in their face. Black excellence, black this, black that. So, if they have failed to deliver, why can't we say, I don't know if you get me.
Okay.
So that is what some of them excuse. So that if you are going to say black excellence at every turn when they do something good, equally we should be able to say these things back when we should be able to make reference to their color when they don't get it right.
No, but then was it not the very color they started looking down upon?
And I'm like, what?
It's because of what they were doing. That is what led to all these black excellent blacks. Because the very thing, the mere fact that you are black made them think you're nothing. Absolute nothing. You understand? So that is what made us use the term black. So it's like in your face for you to understand that, look, it's not about what you think. It's about the fact that we are capable. We can and we are.
Because you see, at the end of the day, from the get-go, as a black man, you are dealt a very tough hand.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Not everyone gives you a chance, anyway. And so for some of these boys to actually rise through the ranks and do what they are doing.
Hey.
Okay? And if you're looking at the English squad, look at the number of black boys in there.
And they are trying.
And they are doing so well.
They are trying.
Tyrone Mings, Reece James,
Yeah.
Raheem Sterling, Jadon Sancho.
The things they put up with.
Look at the names. And some that could even make the cut. Now, some of them are rethinking their national team future. Someone like Callum Hudson-Odoi, who was in Ghana after winning the Champions League with Chelsea. Now, I mean, he came to Ghana and there were endless calls for him to switch nationality, which he can, actually, because he's still not, above 21 years, per the new FIFA rules and regulations. He can actually switch if he wants to. And I've seen very unconfirmed sources, so that's why that he has, but I haven't seen anything from
official,
from the verifiable or reliable sources. So, and some of them are beginning to think about this for those that at least have the opportunity of having dual nationalities in here, and they get to pick which side to pledge their allegiance to.
And I feel this
out in the long run.
This actually will be a key decision making point for them.
Because if I am Hudson-Odoi and sitting down and seeing what is happening to my brothers, I'm like, okay, so this is what awaits me if this happens. But if it's Black Stars, you come and we lose, we insult you together, we'll beat you.
We'll still be in it together.
Exactly.
I mean, look at us one time.
Anyway, so we are still here together anyway. So it's like you don't get picked on or get targeted because you look a certain way.
That's the thing.
Okay, at least if we are going to lose, we lose together. It's all of us that lost the game. Anyway, so and I understand. I mean, Guy Southgate has tried to turn around the whole incident and try to take the heat off his players by saying yes, it's his fault for allowing him to go and I mean at 19 years he's showing to have an entire nation's destiny on your
on
young
your shoulders, Charlie.
It's not easy.
It's not a joke. A nation that is just waiting for you.
And there's a boy at 19. He's facing up against Donnarumma, a player that hasn't conceded more than 2 goals in the last 5 years. And when they tell you the size of Donnarumma, when he stands and he's very intimidating. So when he opens his arms, he covers the entire post. That's how intimidating he is. So it's not easy walking up this side, and so that is where your mental strength comes in. There's a lot of mental strength that goes.
I play, yes.
And I just felt that and for me personally, once it's got into extra time, I'm like, England should pray it doesn't get to penalties, because once it gets there, trust me, the Italians have done this over and over. And the English exactly, and the English are relatively very young, and experience will count
a lot when it comes to the penalties. Yes,
and that actually played out, because that is where your mental strength is tested. A lot. You are walking up there in the crowd.
And for me, I'm thinking that when these boys were actually walking up to it, it wasn't just even about looking at who was in the goalpost. Yeah. Also, it was thinking about what the fans in the stand were actually going to say, what they were thinking, what they were doing.
At stake.
The pressure. That pressure alone, you throw the ball and you pass over there.
It's coming home.
It's gone to Rome. It's gone to Rome. But it's very sad. I mean, one of the people actually spoke up about this also not too long ago, like precisely like some 2-3 years ago. You're looking at Viv Anderson, and he actually became the first black footballer to play for England some 43 years ago. And he spoke about the fact that, I mean, a lot has to be done to help black and ethnic coaches. I mean, we don't want to say minority coaches, but that's what most of them want to call them. And he says the situation hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. Once you feel like, fine, we've got an opportunity to do something, so you feel I'm going to affect change or make key decisions, you get there and you realize that there are lots of things fighting against you. It's like swimming against the tide. So you literally don't have that much backing and power and authority that will enable you to even thrive in the space they have put you in.
Yeah, I mean, we are talking England. The focus is on England because of the football. But I mean, when you take it to the United States, in the NFL, what they call football over there.
Yes.
So, I mean, they have what they call the Rooney Rule. When it comes to appointing coaches and everything, that's sort of more like a quota system that allows, black prospective managers to be given a fair chance at it. But somehow, some of them have still found a way around it again. Because yes, you look at it, in principle, it's actually a good idea if you would have, open sports and you have certain sports, dedicated to the minority category that, to be able to apply and fight equally for it. But some of them have found a way around it because because some of them, from the inner circles, you realize that this is the candidate they want.
Yes.
But, the Rooney Rule says, okay, get one or two, minorities in there. So they'll just put it out there. But at the end of the day, they actually know their candidate.
They've already selected it.
Anyway, so yes, it's there, but in practice, it's still not, something that they go by.
I think,
but at least you do see they are doing something. Unlike in the English game, there's effort anyway. But I'll give an E for effort. So, but with in England, it seems not to be the same. It's all talk. Very little action.
They are not even showing you that they are doing. They are not even showing you that they are doing. I mean, when I saw the videos of the way they were beating people, I'm sorry for those who went to, like the people who went through that. It was bad.
Yeah.
We just hope we don't see such things again. I just wish I could have said this with much certainty, but with the current situation on the ground, I don't have that much certainty to say that we will not be seeing these things again. Because if the right and appropriate authorities in power do not take the necessary decisions and stand and do not put into action what actually needs to be done to curb the behavior and actions of the people in times like this, it becomes a big issue.
Very, very.
It becomes a very big
So,
issue.
yes.
We just hope it doesn't
consequence, anyway.
escalate. It doesn't. What escalation has escalated already? What else? What are they escalating again? Let's just believe that they do the right thing. For the social media platforms, I mean, this is a medium where most of these things are being done through. They should. Okay. when I heard, was it 2 days ago that I heard that they had verified the fake account? I was just thinking, hey, they themselves.
They say it was a mistake anyway. So
How did you yourself make a mistake?
And it was just a few accounts. That's the public
The
statement.
few, but then you know the number, the exact number of the few. That is what we can't tell.
Yeah. So you have people that faceless individuals that still go ahead and do these things and say just about anything, and they feel they can get away with it.
Because they do. They do. All these platforms should be held accountable. And recently Trump actually has filed a lawsuit against Google, Facebook, and Twitter. So I'm sure. You said?
He wants to come back.
Well, he has already filed a lawsuit against them. So let's see how that one turns out. But those people have to actually be called to book. They need to sit up and be held accountable for some of these things. It's your platform. It shouldn't become a driver, a main tool to push racist comments or racism in any sphere or any space of the sort. Thank you so much, Hafiz. It's been wonderful talking about sports with you. You guys are still listening to the Africa Daily Show.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe, and share.